Kuchisake Onna, also known as the slit-mouthed woman, is a scary Japanese urban legend about a disfigured Japanese woman who brandishes large scissors and preys on children. She has an enormous slit mouth which extends from ear to ear in a horrible, permanent smile. The slit-mouthed woman walks the streets of Japan, wearing a surgical mask and hunting for children. If you cross her path, she will stop you and ask you a question. If you give her the wrong answer, there will be horrible consequences. Picture the scene. You are walking home from school and your path takes you down a deserted city street. Suddenly, you hear a faint noise coming from the shadows. You glance over and see a beautiful woman standing there. She has long black hair and is wearing a beige trench coat. A surgical mask covers the lower half of her face. In Japan, wearing a surgical mask is not uncommon during flu season to prevent spreading germs. She steps out of the shadows and blocks your path. "Am I beautiful?" she asks. Before you can answer, she tears off her mask, revealing a hideously deformed face. Her huge mouth is sliced from ear to ear and gapes open, revealing rows of sharp teeth and a big, red, disgusting tongue twisting and twirling inside. "Am I beautiful now?" she screams. Terrified, you struggle to answer her. If you say no, she pulls out a huge pair of scissors and kills you immediately, chopping off your head. If you say yes, she takes her scissors and slices your mouth from ear to ear, making you look just like her. If you try to run away, she will hunt you down and kill you by slicing you in two. The only way to escape from Kuchisake Onna is to give a non-committal answer. If you say, "You look average," or "You look normal," she will be confused, giving you just enough time to run away. There are many rumors about how Kuchisake Onna got her horribly disfigured mouth. Some say that her slit mouth is the result of plastic surgery that went horribly wrong. Others say she was injured in a terrible car crash. Some even believe that she is an escaped mental patient who was so demented that she cut her own mouth apart. According to one legend, years ago in Japan, there lived a very beautiful woman who was extremely vain and self-absorbed. Her husband was a very jealous and brutal man, and he became convinced that she was cheating on him. In a fit of rage, he took a sword and slit her mouth from ear to ear, screaming, "Who will think you're beautiful now?" She became a vengeful spirit and began wandering the streets of Japan, wearing a surgical mask to hide her terrible scars. The slit-mouthed woman's reign of terror began in the spring and summer of 1979, when rumors began to spread throughout Japan about sightings of the Kuchisake Onna hunting down children. The story spread like wildfire and actually created scares in many towns. Police increased their patrols and schools sent teachers to walk students home in groups. In 2004, South Korea was plagued by reports of a red-masked woman who was chasing children. In 2007, a coroner found some old records from the late 1970s about a woman who was chasing little children but was hit by a car and died shortly after. Her mouth was ripped from ear to ear. The USA has its own version of Kuchisake Onna. There were rumors about a clown who appeared in public bathrooms and accosted children, asking, "Do you want death or happy smile?" If they chose happy smile, he took out a knife and slit their mouths from ear to ear. Hanako-san is a Japanese urban legend about the ghost of a young girl that is supposed to haunt school toilets, opening and closing doors and scaring anyone who enters the bathroom, knocks on her stall, and calls her name. Hanako, the ghost in the toilet, almost achieved the status of a national phenomena in Japanese legend 20 years ago, when a wave of stories of ghost sightings swept through the nation's schoolyards. Every child had a Hanako story to tell. The stories, of course, are many and varied, but every school child in Japan, at one time or another, has stood in dread and anticipation as he or she ventured into the school toilet alone. This is similar to the legend of Kashima Reiko, a female ghost without legs who also lives in school bathrooms. She calls out, "Where are my legs?" when people enter the bathroom. The correct way to answer her varies. In one version, you have to say Kashima Reiko, Ka, common, mask, Shi, shinin, dead person, Ma, demon. Yet another version features Awi Manto or Akamanto, a male ghost who waits in the last stall in the girls' bathroom. Anyone entering the bathroom hears a voice asking, "Which do you prefer, the red paper or the blue paper?" If they pick red, he kills them by slashing their back or neck repeatedly with a blade to make them look like they're wearing a red cape. If they pick blue, then they're killed by hanging. He is known as Akamanto, Awimanto, Awihanten, Akakami, and Awikami. Tik-tik, or tek-tek, is a scary Japanese urban legend about a girl who fell under a train and was cut in half. She took a long time to die, and now her ghost roams through Japan, dragging her top half along using her claw-like hands. Every time she moves, she makes a teek-teek sound. There is a story about a young boy who was leaving his school one evening when he heard a noise behind him. Looking back, he saw a beautiful girl sitting at a window. The girl had her arms propped up on the windowsill and was just staring out at him. He wondered why she was there, because it was an all-boys school. When she saw him looking back at her, the girl smiled and hugged herself so that she was holding her elbows. Then suddenly, she leaped out of the window and landed on the ground outside. The boy realized, with horror, that she was missing the lower half of her body. She made her way towards him, clawing along the ground and running on her elbows and making a teek-teek-teek-teek-teek-teek sound. The boy was filled with horror and revulsion. He tried to run, but he was frozen to the spot. Within seconds, she was upon him, and she took out a scythe and cut him in half, making him into one of her own. When kids tell this story, they warn each other about the teek-teek. They say she carries a sharp saw or a scythe, and if she catches you, she'll cut you in half and you'll become just like her. She is said to chase children who play at dusk. She is also known as the bata-bata, again, the sound of it running on its elbows, or the girl that runs on her elbows. It is also similar to the story of Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman, and the story of Kashima Reiko. The American version is called Click-Clack.